Hey guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of Birds and Swords. We're doing a gaming podcast. We've been excited. We've been working on this for 3-4 weeks, I guess. So we're going to talk about gaming. This isn't going to be a weekly news fix type of thing. We're going to talk about things that we're passionate about, why we love games, how it all started, what sucks, what's awesome, perceptions, stuff like that. So I've got a couple people with me tonight. Got Alyssa, first of all, who will be with me every time. What's up, Alyssa?
Hey.
Name all of your birds.
All of my birds. All right. So the green cheek conures, we got Riku, Kairi, and Sora, obviously named after Kingdom Hearts. For the cockatiels, we have Merlin, Taz, McCreary, and Bucky. And then I have a parakeet named Big Joe.
Bucky is my boy.
Yeah.
The last time I was there, Bucky sat on my head, right?
Yeah.
For a solid 15-20 minutes.
He's a lover.
Just chilling.
So he loves me. So yeah, I've known Alyssa for, how long have we known each other for?
Oh, God. You were...
Probably 10 to
it has
12
be around.
years,
yeah,
probably.
10 to 12 years.
Yeah, 80% of the things we talk about are video games, probably. We play a lot of the same stuff. We're very diverse gamers. We like to play a lot of different kinds of things. So we're excited to talk about doing this. Then also we have Zach with us. Are you guys married? Or?
Yo.
No.
Okay. Not a chance.
Yes.
Not yet. So Zach is Alyssa's other half. Better half?
I'm
Worse
a whole
half?
person.
We are two whole persons together to make one great.
We are one brain cell combined.
But I'm the better half, yes.
Gotcha. Zach, obviously hardcore gamer. Me and Zach used to work together. So we've talked about plenty of games as well. So what's up, Zach?
Not much, man. Doing good. Excited to be here. Excited to tell other people about all of our stories about gaming and stuff.
Yeah. I think all three of us, and tonight we're going to talk about kind of how we started and what got us into gaming and stuff like that. And I think all three of us probably have different stories, so that's going to be cool. So with that, Alyssa, so what got you into gaming? What's the genesis of your story?
Oh, gosh. Well, so I feel like every child gamer grew up watching someone playing video games to start. So my mom was really big into, like, Mario. My uncle played a lot of, like, Grand Theft Auto. And maybe not the best thing to watch when I was, like, 8. But it definitely got me intrigued with video games, right? And my neighbors, when I lived with my mom, I was best friends with the girl next door. And she would always get really mad at me because her brother had a PlayStation 1. And every time I went over there to hang out with her, I would be, like, drawn to the PlayStation 1 with him. And he was always playing this, like, Looney Tunes game. And it was like you were playing as, like, Wile E. Coyote, and you had to, like, steal sheep. It was, like, really fun and weird and kooky.
Baby stuff?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah, it was, like, really wild. And so I got super into that, and then he also had, like, a Digimon RPG, and so then eventually, somehow, I acquired a PlayStation 1 and just instantly became addicted to A Bug's Life. And that was my first, like, game. And I didn't have a memory card. I feel like a lot of kids grew up without the memory card. So every time I turned on my PlayStation 1, I had to start entirely over. And I just would, on repeat, every day, play A Bug's Life.
Memory cards. And it was like $25 for like 8 megabytes.
Yeah.
So
We're not splurging on that.
PS1 was your first system that you owned?
Yeah, that was the first one that I myself owned. It's like my mom had the Nintendo and N64 and all that, but that was my first system.
Okay. So your mom's a gamer?
Yeah. She
I
was
didn't even know
huge
that.
into it. Yeah, that's how I watched her play. She's, a freaking beast at all the Mario games. She can beat them with her eyes closed. I swear to God.
Yeah, she's really good at
It's
those.
like crazy.
So like the original NES ones?
Yeah.
A lot of times she'll ask about new games that she's played, but Alyssa's always like, you should play them, and she's like, yeah.
No, I'll just play some Mario.
Yeah, she always goes back to the originals. Atari too. She was good at the. I don't know what it was. We had to leap over the crevices with the little stick man.
Yeah.
She was really good at that. Like, she was good at all the, like, OG games.
Well, that's
Galaga.
Pitfall?
Pitfall, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, Pitfall.
Pitfall 2.
Yeah, my mom was so good at all those, like, ridiculously hard
Yeah, the old
original
Atari
games.
stuff.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of the older games were really hard though.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about hard games now. I mean, Zach and I could just talk about Elden Ring for 45 minutes if you want to.
I haven't even played, and I can talk
It's
about
on my
it.
agenda to talk about.
Yeah, but the older stuff, a lot of it is really challenging, and it didn't hold your hand, and it didn't necessarily like tell you everything to do. I mean, we could talk about Zelda for hours.
Oh my
Alyssa and
gosh.
I's
So unforgiving.
favorite thing is Zelda, but yeah, a lot of those things were hard. So Bugs Life.
Yeah, that was like my
PS1.
shit. And I actually, because I was a chronically anxious child, and there is a board in Bugs Life that I remember very well where I had to fight Thumper, the crazy freaking grasshopper, the one that like
Yeah.
is foaming at the mouth. You have to like fight him in this like dark crevice, and he's like screeching and coming at you. And I had to do that every day because it was like the third level. So every time I rebooted A Bug's Life, I had to like go through the anxiety of playing against Thumper.
Well, at least you being a little younger, you had save states.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a little older than you guys. A lot of times it was pause, and sometimes you would pause and leave it on all night.
Oh, I would do that. Yeah, I remember. I
'Cause you
actually
couldn't
remember
save it.
doing that all the because I couldn't, especially with Digimon. I had this like Digimon RPG game, and I would get really far, and my mom would come in and tell me it was time for bed, and I would cry because I was like, I'm so far. So I would like secretly leave it on or something, but she knew, and she would turn it off, and I would start over the next day.
So how old were you when all of this happened?
During the Bugs Life saga of my life, I had to be like 7 or 8, maybe younger. I was very young. Maybe I was like 6. I was very young.
But you had an NES in the house this whole time because your mom was playing?
Yeah. And I never really played it. I always watched her. I'm not sure. I don't really remember if it was because she like didn't want her kid to be like fucking with her stuff, or if like I just didn't have interest in it. But I never really played it. I did when I was older.
What was after A Bug's Life then, I guess? Because you're do you define yourself as a hardcore gamer?
I think I define myself, I don't want to say hardcore because I'm not competitive in any way that I game. I don't play on the hardest mode. I play like normal, but I play a lot of games. I spend a lot of time on games, but I also don't like multiplayer games. So I don't think I'm hardcore. I definitely spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on video games.
Yeah, because I play competitive stuff, not as much as Zach does. And I feel like I'm a hardcore gamer for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just by the amount I play, or how much I get involved in it, or Cool. So Bugs Life. What was after Bugs Life, or did you answer that?
So there was definitely games in between that, but the next memorable one that really struck me was when I had my PlayStation 2. I was just in love with PlayStation. So I've always been a PlayStation bitch. I love Sony. I love everything they do. But the next one for me, and I feel like I'm the only person in the world that's played this game, Grandia 3. Anybody?
I've heard of it. I haven't played
It's
it.
so
My
stupid
brother
good.
did
It's
play
so ridiculously good. It's just like it's like a turn-based, like a true turn-based RPG, and it had this like really dramatic anime plot, and it like sucked me in because it was like before I discovered Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts or anything. So like I just found this game. I think like one of my friends lent it to me, and I was hooked. And I was addicted, and that's all I did was play that game.
Was that your first turn-based game?
Yeah, for sure. And then after that, it was God of War, which wasn't turn-based, but that was like the next
Right.
game that pulled me
Nice.
in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I was like 10 at that point, maybe 12.
The rest is history. You haven't
Yeah.
said anything about my Kingdom Hearts jersey.
I love that. I
They're
keep
weird.
staring at it. I love that jersey
It's
so
so
much.
random.
Where
I
did you
remember maybe Box Lunch.
They have good stuff.
I was just playing Smash Bros. And I saw that they had Sora. And
Yeah.
okay, disclaimer: I'm not good at Smash Bros. I have like half the characters unlocked still. But my friend came over and I kicked ass with Sora. Okay, Thundaga all night. It was beautiful.
Does he have the standard Keyblade?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what he rolls with.
Yep.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. What about you, Zach? How did all begin?
Well, okay, so kind of eerily similar to Alyssa's as far as the console progression, but I'm a little younger, so we had a NES and an SNES, but I don't remember playing them before the N64. N64 was a family console, and I remember playing Diddy Kong Racing with like my 2 older brothers and mom and dad. So that was sweet, and from then I was hooked. I'm like, okay, I'm a little tiger racing around in a cart, and I just beat mom, like, let's go.
So your mom's a gamer too?
She was, and then she like took a abrupt stop to.
Well, she was
video
raising
games.
3 boys, so
Yeah,
that's
fair.
full-time job.
Rambunctious boys.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so that was really fun, and then on the NES and SNES, I forgot which one it was, but the Namco arcade, Galaga. My dad was legendary at that. Luke, that might have even been on the N64 too, but Luke ended up resetting the board on Galaga. Like, he beat the game, and it just went back to stage 1. Craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was unreal. But my dad, when he was on work breaks, he would even, like, put his quarter, on the top, so other people would have theirs in line, and when he would go up, he would last so long that the line would be so long of quarters that people end up taking theirs back and picking another game on the break.
Like when people used to put their corners, like they'd be like, I'm next kind of thing. And people, when he'd be playing so long, they'd be like, I'm not waiting anymore, exactly. Take it back.
That's how shooting pool works at the bar
exactly.
too. Yeah, same kind of thing.
Yeah, so I guess Galaga runs in the family.
A classic.
Right, but then I moved on to PlayStation 1 with my grandma. She watched us once a week in the summers, and she had Spyro.
Oh.
And
gamer moms, gamer grandmas.
Yeah,
wow.
The coolest
I didn't even know any of this.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Spyro's the shit.
Yeah, I guess she just needed something to entertain entertain us, and yeah, she had a PlayStation. We're like, "What is that, Grandma?" And she's like, "Oh, I just have something."
There's so many games that I go back to as an adult, and I'm like, why was I ever stuck on this as a child?
Yeah.
Stupid.
And the opposite, how the hell did I do this? Because I can't do it now.
Crash, I will die on this hill. Their remaster is harder than the original. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah.
Because there's I was a child and I did so much better. Like, what is going on?
I think there's something with kids learn things faster.
Yeah.
You know how they can learn other languages and sign language and all that? I think there's something to that. Because little kids can be awesome at games, and then, or even me or you guys will revisit something. You'll be like, how the hell did I do this?
Oh my gosh. So many video game bosses even. I'm like, yeah,
the boss moves, learning the patterns and stuff.
Combos.
Or maybe we're more patient and more determined. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's
interesting. I had the 4 gigabyte white Xbox 360, and I never got the red ring. I never red ringed, ever. Ever.
I red ringed my brother's. He never knew. I hope he doesn't hear this.
I would have killed you.
Yeah, I was playing Fable. Oh, the first Fable.
The first Fable.
Brilliant
I
game.
love the second one. I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, the chickens, right? Something weird with chickens.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't remember did they make a sound if you threw them, or?
I don't remember. It was always the pop culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if we had memes yet, but there would have been chicken memes for Fable if there were.
Right. But all of a sudden, I hear the whirring of the disc tray or the crunching, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I look at the system, and the middle power button flashed red, and then I saw the first corner, top right corner, go red, and I lunged at the outlet and pulled it out of the wall, and I just went to my mom, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing." Might have just broke Luke's Xbox. Nothing's wrong.
No.
And she's like, "What?"
Well, if he finds out now you only owe him $60.
Right.
You can get a 360 right at 60.
That's it. He came home. I didn't do anything, I left it. He came home from school, plugged it back in, and was playing. I came downstairs and I was like, "What's up, Luke? Oh, what game you playing?"
Oh, so you prevented the red ring,
I
essentially.
guess.
Wow. I've never heard of that. That's actually super lucky. I feel like you wouldn't be here today if you didn't.
No, especially with Luke. Jake, understanding,
You were putting points into the luck skill. That's what you were doing.
That's so funny. What about you, Micah? What's your origin story?
Yeah, so mine's similar. I think a lot of people have a similar story of it's a cousin, it's a friend, it's whatever. So mine's similar. I had a cousin that had a regular Nintendo. We played a ton of Tetris and Mario 3. We played that at my grandma's house. And I was hooked right away. I don't know why. I can't explain it, just like you guys probably can't. I just loved being, in control of, whatever was happening on the screen. So that's kind of how it started. The first system I had was Genesis. I was a Genesis kid. I actually didn't have a regular Nintendo. And I really don't even think that I asked for one until Genesis. I was happy just, going over to, grandma's house or, friend's house that had it. And I was totally cool with just, having that luxury when I went over and hung out with them and, being able to play it and stuff. But the first system I had was Genesis, and I was a huge Genesis kid. And back then there was, kind of like the 360 PS3 era, there was a Genesis Super Nintendo war at the time. So I didn't have the Super Nintendo. I had the Genesis because I loved Sonic. I played Sonic at a friend's house. Maybe that's why I asked for the Genesis. I still love Sonic. I mean, there's a big Sonic right there, actually. So I was a huge Genesis kid, and I liked Mortal Kombat a lot. And the Genesis version of Mortal Kombat had blood, and the Super Nintendo version didn't.
Ooh.
And I loved to rub that in my friends' faces. Mom and Dad definitely didn't like me playing.
Was
Mortal
that
Kombat.
the Mortal Kombat where it was like super controversial because they ripped out a spine? One of the characters like.
Yeah, the
fatality was
early
ripping out the spine.
fatalities were. I mean, if you look at them now, they're super basic. And it's just
Well, they
it's
got
just
known for it,
hilarious.
so they were like, let's just roll with it.
Yeah,
now.
there was a decapitation, a heart rip out, and then the spine where you ripped the guy's head off and the spine came out.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was groundbreaking. There
Yeah.
really wasn't violence in video games other
Yeah.
than just bopping a furry
I heard
animal
that's
in the
like
head.
where they came with the ratings was when they felt like they needed like Mortal Kombat was one of the
Yeah.
starters for that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
And of course, it was huge in arcades before it even hit consoles and hit the Genesis and Super Nintendo. I like to go to arcades too. That's a whole different discussion, though, I
Yeah.
suppose.
We were just at Up Down the other day, like 2 days ago and 5
Yeah.
days before that.
Well, there's also something Darkade or something here in like Menominee Falls.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
heard
Do you know about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I have been there actually. I don't know.
That's a popular thing now, I suppose.
I love it.
But yeah, I was a huge Genesis kid. I always tell people I'm this weird hybrid of jock and nerd because I've always been super into sports, still am. We'll talk about sports games later. So even the Genesis, I played a ton of, Madden came on the Genesis. There were a couple different baseball games.
The first one, right?
Well, Madden originated on PC for the first couple. I think Madden 92 was the first console
64.
version. No, this is before 64.
Which one's on 64? 99?
Yeah, something. Well, when was 64? 96, I think Nintendo 64 came
Yeah.
out.
I think it was
1996.
It was in 64?
1964?
1776. When we established this great country, we
Yeah.
established the Nintendo.
We stabbed a pole in the ground and then... Yeah, so I was a huge sports kid too, so...
97?
I'm gonna look it up.
It's probably 97. Well, 96 came to mind, so
I think-
it might be 96.
I feel like...
I
23rd, 1996.
yeah.
And I think PS1 was 97 because it was the first, disc-based system. Well, actually, I don't know if it was.
94!
For what? PS1?
PlayStation introduced December 3rd, 1994.
Yeah, so I played tons of Genesis. I played... Yeah, it was like Sonic and Mortal Kombat and sports games. I know that's weird.
Nice.
And I played some other stuff too. Some in-between stuff. I remember playing Vector Man. I don't know if you guys have heard of that game.
Man.
Yeah, he was like this... He was made of green orbs or balls or something.
What?
That game is
I've
really
never
hard
heard
too.
of this.
Yeah, just random, just random stuff. Of course, we rented games a lot back then
Yeah, that used to be a thing.
too. So it was all about the back of the box and what was on the box,
Yes.
and
Cover art really
Yeah.
sold me on games.
Yeah,
as
that
a
is
kid.
not as big a thing anymore. At all.
No.
I remember getting like N64 rentals in like either Blockbuster,
Blockbuster.
Yeah,
and maybe even Walmart. or
Family
something.
Video, I used to
One
rent
other
Halo.
place, I was like,
every
what are
weekend.
these
No,
doing here?
Blockbuster was the
Taste
shit because you could rent games, but you could also buy games
Yeah.
that they rented out, and you could get them for like $15 or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's kind of how we got started. Everybody's got a different story, but it seems like they're all kind of similar.
Yeah.
Usually you get grandfathered in from a cousin, a friend, whatever you see.
Someone else introduces you to the drug.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about what we're playing now. So we're going to fast forward quite a bit. And we're going to talk about today and what we're playing now. So we will be back right after this.
You are listening to Micah and Alyssa on Birds and Swords. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and smash that like button.
This video is brought to you by The Wellness Investors. The Wellness Investors are a collective of individuals with uniquely diverse backgrounds. Our goal is to inspire, motivate, and entertain. Visit thewellnessinvestors.com and start enhancing your life, one sector at a time.
All right, we are back. I've got a quick story, by the way. Well, first of all, we're in Milwaukee. We didn't say that at all.
Here's my address.
So, I mean, you can put it out there.
I don't want to know.
You guys live in Milwaukee proper. We're actually in Germantown, I guess. But what do they say? As the crow flies? Is that what they say? As the crow flies, I think we're only like a mile from Milwaukee proper.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in Milwaukee doing all this, and I told them I've got the podcast room set up kind of. It's on its way. I've got a huge Superman, we'll call it a blankie, up on the wall. It's covered in an ugly
It's
window.
not a quilt.
It is a quilt.
It's a quilt.
It's a quilt?
It's a quilt.
It's not a handmade quilt.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that. So,
Maybe.
yeah. So this quilt, or blankie, actually means a lot to me. It was actually originally a sheet, just like a top sheet. If you look right here, it says copyright, 1978?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I was a little guy, I had this sheet on my bed. So these were my Superman, sheets and whatever. And I had those. And then, I grew up, and man, I don't know how long ago it was, probably maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I got this, I think it was for Christmas. My mom showed up with this. My grandma actually quilted this blanket that I loved, when I was like 6, 7 years old. And she quilted it onto a blanket. And there it is, 1978, 26 years later, 36 years later. Holy shit.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that's hanging up on my wall. That really means a lot to me. A little bit of family stuff, and my grandma quilted all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that was originally a sheet, and now it's a quilt. Now it's on the wall in the podcast room. And you can tell how old school it is, because that's old school comic Superman.
Zap.
Yeah, right. Superman, Zap, all those, what do they call those? Onomatopoeias? Is that what they're called? When words are actually noises.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That seems right.
Yeah.
Zap.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what we've been playing recently. So we talked about how we started. So let's talk about what we're playing now. We'll go with the guest first. Zach, what are you playing right now?
Elden Ring.
I've never heard of it.
You're a liar.
I'm completely kidding. Everybody in the universe is playing Elden Ring.
For a reason. It is just...
Objectively a good game. I don't even play. I've never played the Dark Souls, but just watching you play.
Phenomenal. I know so
amazing.
many people that haven't played Dark Souls that have played it.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Elden Ring is a new From Software game that is from the same creator of the Dark Souls trilogy, which is notoriously hard. It's just a ridiculously grueling game.
Super unforgiving.
And Elden Ring follows suit with that, but it is also...
Let's talk about that difficulty for a second. So it's difficult on purpose.
Absolutely. Only one difficulty.
Separate the
You
men
can't
from
change
the
it.
boys.
Well, I feel like that difficulty is there to teach you something. Because you're going to die a lot,
Yeah,
right?
it's to teach you to get good, man.
Yeah.
But also patience. Yes.
Yeah, memorizing patterns. Because you go into a boss fight, and sometimes not, the sub bosses, mini bosses, whatever you would call them. You're
They'll
gonna
be
die
like
10 or
world
12.
bosses.
Yeah, you're gonna die 10 or 12 times before you kind of figure out how to approach it.
Yeah. Yep. Especially when there'll be a similar boss or a boss that's a similar style of the little guys you see around. So you think you already know how they're going to be going in. So, you'll ride in on your horse all confident and then just get smushed.
Yeah. I mean, the difficulty of the game is a trademark of the game and the Dark Souls game. When you think of Dark Souls, you think hard as shit game. So all you see online on every social media platform is people dying in really brutal ways.
Yeah.
And I even remember Zach's best friend Parker sent me a Snapchat of him being just brutally killed or someone else being brutally killed. And I was like, yeah, I don't play these games because I am not good at them. And he responded, he's like, nobody is.
Even the creator of the game says he doesn't like playing them because it's so hard.
That's crazy.
So you've obviously played Dark Souls and the other ones. So
Yeah.
how does Elden Ring compare?
Oh, man. If you had complaints about Dark Souls 3, which you really shouldn't have, they fixed them. They expanded on everything that you could have. There was no jumping in Dark Souls. It just wasn't a
Right.
thing. So for a lot of gamers, it's like, oh, jumping's kind of like just, duh, people jump. But now being able to jump around is very refreshing. They added a horse, and most of all, they opened the world up. So it's a free roam Dark Souls experience, which is definitely what they teased at in 3. They definitely gave it a lot more fluidity, going back and forth with everything, but it wasn't.
Well, people
anything
are
like this.
comparing it to Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
feel that too?
I feel in the first
Well-
area, it's very reminiscent of it.
I just feel like because the industry is going towards a very like open world video game industry, everything
Yeah.
is being graded on how open world it is lately. Not totally sure how I feel about that, but it seems since Breath of the Wild is one of the most loved open world games to recently come out, everybody's trying to compare every open world to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it did set the benchmark since Skyrim, like Zelda did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breath of the Wild. I don't think there was a game that we saw since Skyrim that really like changed public opinion on the way that those games are built. But I think I agree with you, but I think the comparison a lot more comes in the fact that like the horse, Spona?
Epona?
Epona? Yeah.
That's the Breath of the Wild horse.
Yeah.
Because it's Torrent, I think,
Yeah,
in Elden Ring.
Torrents. Yep.
Yeah.
But the one in Zelda is definitely mobile, right? Like easy to move around in. You
Mm-hmm.
can do combat on top of it and everything like that. You can do that in Elden Ring too. So it opens up to this free world after the tutorial,
I
and
see.
you can like fight on this horse right away. So people that have played both are like, oh, okay, like
I see. So it's
Yeah.
like brutal Breath of the Wild.
yeah,
Well, I think the comparisons come in because it's an open world. There's no quests. There's no quest markers. There's no thing
yeah.
pointing you to this direction. And that's the same thing Zelda does. That's the same thing Zelda's done for 35 years is it does not hold your hand. It doesn't tell you where this thing is that you'll need necessarily. And Elden Ring does the same thing. But it's awesome like Breath of the Wild because every, corner you go around is just something awesome. You're like, oh shit, look at that.
right.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
oh,
I did
neat.
notice
Oh
that.
man, I need to get down there and
watching.
look at that. I need to figure out a way to get down there.
Yeah, there's been so many times that I have a mission. I'm like, oh, I gotta get to this next like church on the hill or something.
Right.
And then I'll be going up a cliff and I'll see a boss or a cave down there. And I'm like, oh, should I check that out first? Should I go down there?
Do you call the sites of grace, bonfires?
Yep. Bonfires and souls all the time.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
good.
what level are you?
I'm like 52 right now.
And what class?
Vanguard. I always go sword and board my first run.
Yeah. All right, cool. So you're playing Elden Ring. Anything else? You're a big
Yeah.
competitive gamer. Do you?
Yeah.
Is it
most
just
definitely.
Elden Ring? Because I feel like Elden Ring's one of those games where you're playing it, but you also need
Breaks.
like your side bitch.
Yeah.
like you
No,
need
absolutely.
Apex also,
Absolutely.
in there or
That-
something.
Apex is like Old Faithful right now. I can always come back to it. But I jumped back in Smite for the first time in a while, so that
Okay.
was pretty nice. That's kind of what I'm spicing up Elden Ring with. I'll start off
That's
with...
been around for a minute.
Yeah, they did a pretty big update recently again, released a new god, so figured I'd check it out. It's pretty good. But yeah, I'll usually start off or end off a day with that instead of just the whole Elden Ring time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely competitive in Apex. Love shooters, but I usually try to push ranked a lot. This season we made plat, and I was going for diamond and realized that I didn't think I would make it. I'm like, well, I'm already plat, so I'm just going to take a break until the split, which...
We're putting up a graphic
Should we
during
not?
this segment that says Zach toots his own horn.
Right. No, platinum is not that high in Apex, but
You are really good at Apex, though. You can toot
Thank
your
you.
own horn. I've
Thank
seen you
you.
play.
Well, I'll say a quick thing about Zach real quick, just from being over there a couple times. Zach, he plays games and he'll just walk around, like have his headset on. He'll walk around his house. He'll have conversations with you, and he's playing the game the entire
He's
time.
winning. He will
And
cook
winning,
dinner.
yeah.
He will cook me dinner and come out the total champion every time. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
He'll
don't
clean
know
the
how you do
house,
it, dude.
cook dinner, and he'll be walking around with the headset and still be just kicking ass. It's ridiculous.
I'm actually notorious for that in the chat group with the boys because they'll just be ripping on me for starting a ranked match and then being like, all right, guys, 1 second, someone's here. And
You're
then
right.
going off the headset, but at the same time I'll be like pinging everything and, you know, still being with the squad.
Yeah,
Constantly on the sticks.
Yep.
All right, well, thanks, man. Alyssa, what are you playing right now? I already know. I'm really excited. What are you playing?
I am playing Persona 5,
Yes.
which is the first Persona game I've ever played, which I admit reluctantly because I'm usually very, like, I have to play everything up to that. But I heard that you don't have to do that with this series. And I just want to say that this is like the most wild, crazy, eccentric game ever. It's so out of the park, left field, like over the top, dramatic, anime. I really didn't know.
And mature. Like,
Yeah.
it
Oh
takes
my
on some
gosh.
heavy subjects.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Persona other than the art style because I had seen art from it. But Micah actually was like, you were like, oh, it's free for PlayStation Plus right now. So I downloaded it and I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And it's a lot of dialogue, but I'm only like 6 hours into the game. I just started it. It's a lot of dialogue for me, but the turn-based combat is addicting. It's fantastic. It's really fun.
And it's dripping with style.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything about that game.
Everything. Even the menus,
Yep.
even the pause menu, everything. And the soundtrack is phenomenal.
So do you not like the amount of dialogue?
Yeah, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, it's
Too much.
really well written, though.
And I don't know. I don't know about
No?
that. I think it's a little cheesy, a little over the top. They're very dramatic.
Alyssa turns
You've
to me-
played Japanese games before, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, absolutely, yes. I'm not denying that other Japanese games aren't like this, but
Well-
going into it,
Alyssa turns to me 3 hours in and she goes, you know, I'm still not hooked, but I'm not giving it up yet.
just
suck
so
you in.
much dialogue, so much dialogue. I'm a big gameplay person. I think plot is important to a game, and I won't get super into this right now, but gameplay can overpower plot. If the plot makes no sense and the gameplay is fantastic, I won't care. So for me, the dialogue and the plot of this game is just so everywhere right now in the beginning that it's just a lot to take in, especially as someone who's never played Persona.
Right.
I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I think, I looked it up, it's like a 100-hour game. So I think as I progress, I'm going to respect it a lot more.
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to loves it.
I think I dumped almost 200 into it.
Wow.
Well, once you get, well, never mind. It'll start to make more sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
I understand the plot. I do. I understand everything that's going on in the world that they've created. It's just like a lot, and it's very dramatic. But I'm still playing it.
Man, I love everything about it. I love how
the
it.
poster up right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. There's one right behind me.
I do love the art style.
I love how-
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love how extra it is, just because it's so different. Everything's a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's set with high school kids.
Yeah.
High school, you know, they're trying to figure out life anyway, and then there's all this messed up stuff that you
Yeah.
know that they have to fix, and they're in control of. Yeah, but you know, the gameplay reigns supreme.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge turn-based person even, and Persona 5 is like in my top 5 games of all time, and it's turn-based. But it's so well balanced and so stylish, and I did love the story and love the characters, and I think that's what you'll hear from a lot of people is how much they
Yeah.
love the characters.
Yeah, that is what I generally hear, and I see a lot of people cosplay as the characters. So
Yeah.
like playing it, I'm like, oh wow, so that's where these characters are from. I think as I play it, I'm gonna love it, but right now it's still dipping the toe.
How many hours in are you?
I'm only like 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't finished the first dungeon?
No, I'm not even
or
through the
that?
first palace.
Okay. Awesome. Are you playing anything else? Just Persona? I know
I
you
mean-
and we talked about this earlier. You and I haven't had a lot of free time here lately.
I mean, every time you talk to me, I'm embarrassingly enough always going to be playing Hyrule Warriors, and not because I enjoy the game. That's the thing.
It's what my thumb's like.
The thing is, with Zelda games, even though I know it's not canon and it's not even a Legend of Zelda game, I have to 100% them. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I just have to. And my body needs it. And so when I play Hyrule Warriors, I beat the plot, the story, the main story quest, and it's like a 5-hour game. But then they have this adventure mode, and it's just ridiculously long, and there's so many maps. And I'm almost done, but I've put like 700 hours into it. and I'm just constantly playing this game.
Isn't there another one?
Yes, unfortunately.
So you haven't even started
it'll
that
never
one?
end for me. Like, by the time I get to the second one, they'll probably be releasing a third one.
What's the new one? Cadence of...
It's,
no, that's the
Age of
rhythm.
Calamity. It's
Age
the
of
Breath of the
Calamity.
Wild one. So this one
Yeah.
is like all the
And
Legend
they
of Zelda.
Hundreds of more hours. Of
Yeah. Literally, their ad was like hundreds of more hours of gameplay, and I was like, no, please, no.
Well, if it makes you happy.
It doesn't. I told you.
I'm miserable every time I play this game.
I
It's
said if
fun.
you don't get it, you'll never have to finish it.
That's true.
You can just tell someone you beat Hyrule Warriors. That's it. That's all you need.
I can't do it.
And what's the one last thing? You were you put on Facebook or something? You're building roller coasters
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
dude! I am addicted to Planet Coaster, and I like it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but like modern and totally updated. And it got to the point I played it for like 2 days straight without pausing it, without sleeping, without eating, just bathroom breaks.
You turned into a maniac and killed their residents in the
On accident.
park.
I was so tired from not sleeping, and and then when I did sleep, I had dreams about it.
It's not a mobile game, is it?
No, I've just been playing it on my
Okay.
PlayStation, and
Oh, okay.
it plays just like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but like modern. So like updated graphics and updated like a
Eerily
lot more strategy involved. And I don't know what it is about building those coasters, man, but I can't stop.
So it's like an in-depth sim with, like, do you control, like, the prices of stuff? And
Yeah,
all of that?
prices, you like build the theme park, and you it's like all about pricing and building and how it looks and what the customer's like, and employing your staff, and
Can you name your staff?
yeah.
So give us some names. What have you named your staff?
We got Billy Bob. He's always my janitor.
Every part.
Yeah, I always him because he's so good. He's like technically with every park it's like a new guy, but in my heart I know it's him.
Can you see him? Does he have, like, a...
Yeah, and you can look at their thoughts too. So when he's thinking like, I don't feel like I'm being paid enough, I'm like, don't worry, Billy Bob, I got you. And I give him a raise.
You care about him.
I care about my staff a lot. And sometimes they ask too much, and I do turn into like Bezos, and I'm like, bye. Like, I'm like, oh, you want a raise? I'll just hire somebody new at minimum pay.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a good combination of games. What was it? Persona?
I learned a lot.
Okay, so you're playing a turn-based RPG, you're playing a hack and slash with the Hyrule, and then we're taking care of Billy Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, well, for me, I've been super busy as well. I've been playing Elden Ring as well. Super boring, I guess. I chose Prisoner class.
What is that?
That is
entail?
not super boring.
What is
Yeah,
that
it's a
entail?
high dexterity
I've never
build, which is agility, casting quickly, stuff like that.
Wow.
So I am
Ranged.
ranged. So I am leaning into, and I've played Dark Souls and Demon Souls, Bloodborne. I actually like the most out of all of those. I will say I've never finished any of those, but I love Elden Ring way more, and I think that's kind of the consensus across the gaming community is people that haven't played, well, you mentioned it, the people that haven't played the Souls games are really enjoying Elden Ring because of its accessibility, I guess.
Yeah.
Open world, you know, it's still hard and all that good stuff, but man, it's just so satisfying, the exploration. I think all three of us are big on exploration in games.
Yeah.
Even Mario games,
Oh, yeah.
if you played like Mario Odyssey or going back to Mario 64 even, like exploration was a huge focus.
True.
Find all the stars, find all
Mario
the moons.
64 ruined my life. Only when they ported it to the Switch. So when they ported it to the Switch, I don't have like the 64 controller that you can use with the Switch.
Right.
So I was using a Switch controller, and the controls did not port well. So like every little move, this dude is running off a cliff. And it's just like unbelievable, especially when you get to like the ice stages. There's just no hope.
Yeah.
And as a like I'm not an achievement hunter, but I am a completionist, if that makes sense. So I wanted all the stars, so I
Yeah.
got all the stars. And Zach watched me go through like the stages of grief getting these stars. Like it was unbelievable how like I was like crying and I was screaming and I was depressed.
I saw her do the grunt to laugh thing. You know? And at one point, I just went by the birds. I was like, "Well, Daddy's scared, so what's up?"
It was out of control, and the Sunshine and Galaxy ported great. They were fantastic. But yeah, Mario 64, the exploration aspect fantastic when you're not on the Switch.
And one of the most speed run games of all time, probably.
Yeah.
Mario 64.
Yeah,
People will speed run the hell out of that.
which is crazy because,
Wow, that
wow.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been playing Elden Ring when I can. I think I'm level 43. I don't know how many hours that is. Probably 20, maybe less than 20 even.
My cousin's level 157.
That's
Wow,
ridiculous.
Noah?
No offense, Noah.
He is in between relationships and jobs at the moment, so
That makes sense.
he has
Yeah,
a
well,
lot
that's
of
a
time.
that's a whole different conversation or topic we could have because I've fallen into games when I've been in a rough way, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
Me too.
Fallout 3 was a
Absolutely.
game like that for me.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Completely
And
understand.
he hasn't played the Souls either, so like from prior conversation.
Video games save lives, dude. We don't need to get that heavy right now, but like when I'm at my lowest,
Yeah.
truly, like they are the go-to.
Yeah.
It's the greatest.
And
game.
we'll talk about perceptions and stuff probably in future episodes. It's the same as like falling into a book or something, right? I compare it the same way. You're controlling an adventure, so to speak, taking the place of a protagonist or whatever it is. And
And a lot of times when you get into a book, you picture yourself in that book.
right.
yeah.
So
Level 42.
yeah, level I want to say 42. Died a lot. Is there a death counter? Because it's a couple hundred. It's a couple hundred. But that's fine. That's what it's built for. That's what they want.
Yeah, I don't know if there's one in Elden Ring yet.
Well,
There's gotta be. But
and the thing with Elden Ring, same with a game called Returnal. Have you played Returnal?
No.
Okay, Returnal's super hard too. The thing with Elden Ring or any of the Souls games, every time you die, it's fair. You're like, I should have dodged there. I should have blocked. I should have done this.
Yes.
There are no cheap deaths ever. Like the game design is so solid that there are no cheap deaths, and you learn something every time you
right.
time you die. And every bloodstain you touch is some dude riding a horse off a cliff. I swear to God, every single bloodstain. I'm like, let's see how this guy died. Oh, well, he just rode his horse off of this cliff, so it doesn't even matter.
Right.
So those are some of the things we are playing. Let us know what you guys are playing in the comments. It might just be all Elden Ring. Hell, I don't know.
Anyone
Might
else
be.
playing Hyrule Warriors out there, reach out.
Right.
We can do a support group.
Well, another thing I was going to say about you, which is also another discussion, is I like to play games right when they come out and they're hot.
Yeah.
You're not like that at all.
No, I like.
Like you'll
to
play,
let-
you'll play it like 2 years later.
Yeah,
have
I'm
no
totally
problem at all.
not on the hype train for anything ever, unless it's like.
Always on that.
No, really? Like, do I play anything? No, Zelda.
Well, yeah.
No, not even Zelda, because I played Breath of the Wild like 3 years late.
That's
I'm
okay.
just my list. It piles on, and then by the time I get to it, everybody's done talking about it.
So those are some of the games that we are playing now. Some of us are juggling a couple things. I'm definitely not. I'm just on Elden Ring. But yeah, let us know what you're playing in the comments. If it lines up, it might all be Elden Ring. It might all be Hyrule Warriors. Who knows? Yeah, let us know. Let's talk about it. And then we'll be right back after we hear from a sponsor.
Black Bayou Coffee Roasters, based out of Shreveport, Louisiana, but also shipping nationwide, is now offering 13 single coffee origins, 20 different coffee blends, and over 75 different flavors. Black Bayou Coffee Roasters' slogan is, "Life is too short to drink shit coffee." So be sure to visit blackbayoucoffeeroasters.com and use the coupon VULGAR and get your 10% off of your order today. Again, be sure to use the coupon code VULGAR at blackcoffeeroasters.com and receive 10% off your order. Be sure to tell them that the boys of Vulgar Display Podcast sent you. Break down, drink, stay caffeinated, and stay metal, baby.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the evening. Zach is currently playing. I've got TV set up in here with the SNES Mini. So he's playing Super Mario World and doing terrible. Dude, you got to press the. There you go. You keep pressing the jump that spins, and that does nothing for anybody.
No, it's not helping me out here. It's not helping me out at all.
Well, that's all right. That's right. So I got a little gaming set up in here too. We're going to casually complete games as we go. But to close it out tonight, I mean, we kind of a broad overview of what we've been doing. So we're going to talk about our top 3 genres. I love top lists. We're going to be doing this a lot. Top characters, top games, top everything. But tonight, since we're kind of doing an introduction, we're going to do top 3 genres. All right, so we'll lead with, so obviously genres, there's tons in video games, subgenres, everything else. I guess we kind of chose subgenres in a way, or at least I did. So some of our favorite genres of games to play. So Alyssa, what are some of your favorite genres?
Oh man, this was a tough one for me. I definitely chose RPG, but that's just so broad. So I think like specifically turn-based RPGs have really taken a special place in my heart. Especially with games like Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VII, now Persona. Turn-based RPGs are just fantastic. I also have action-adventure, but I love action-adventure with some like puzzles in it, like Zelda. I love Zelda. I think that those are just the best kinds of action-adventure. I also really love hack and slash or like combo-heavy games like Devil May Cry, God of War, Bayonetta, anything like that. Those are probably my top 3.
So just RPGs? Or you said turn-based RPGs?
Turn-based mostly, yeah.
So what's your favorite turn-based RPG?
Ooh. I think Final
Lord of the
Fantasy
Rings,
X.
Third Age.
I think Final Fantasy X. I do. I think that game really nailed the turn-based RPG style. I think that it was like enough strategy, but still like exciting enough. And I mean, just like you had so many different characters you could utilize, and each of them had their own special like qualities and stats that really would change the battle outcome depending on what character you used and utilized, but also then what moves each character utilized. And they also had their overdrives, and you had summons, and you had magic. It was like, and a lot of people think Final Fantasy VII was the best, and I don't deny that.
It is.
I don't deny that, but I think for me it was 10. It was 10 for me.
Is 7 the one with Cloud?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 7 was fantastic, for sure. Nice miss on that pipe.
Zach just died. For those of you who can't see, fell to his death.
I thought there was a wall. Wasn't a wall.
No wall.
No wall.
No wall.
Okay, awesome. What about you, Zach?
So, if you couldn't guess by my origins and what I'm playing now, RPGs. Open world RPGs. I love them. I love just being able to make my own character, really pretend I'm that person and do whatever I want.
Do you usually play as a male or a female?
Female.
I usually do
Or varies?
first run as a male. Like, my first run is usually a character I try to make look like myself.
Okay.
And then
Fair.
my second character is a female.
I played Mass Effect, and I tried to create a character that looked like me, and when I got done, my best friend Matt was in the room, and it was like this character looked disgusting. She was like pale white, really gross lips, like sunken eyes, and Matt was like, "You don't think you look like that, do you?" It was so bad.
I am also complete ass at customizing, so usually I spend about an hour on create a character just to flip through presets until I find one close enough. So don't feel too
You're not
bad.
like changing the jawline and...
Exactly. But yeah, next, shooters. First person shooters specifically. I mean, third, okay, sometimes like Gears, that's hard, like,
Yeah.
that's a third person shooter, but it's also mostly storyline, linear role playing. I don't know how to describe Gears of War.
Yeah, I feel like shooters is too broad. So
Yeah,
is it competitive?
Yeah, first person
Shooters?
shooters. Halo, love Halo. I'm really big into Apex right now. Like I said, I played rank in Apex. I loved Overwatch.
Yeah. Me too.
Same here.
We were addicted. I
That-
mean, when I first started dating Zach, when we were first seeing each other, like, we would stay up all night and play Overwatch, and then he would go to work and I would go to school at 9, and we'd come back at, like, 5 or 6 at night, and then we would play it all night again. I mean, we were addicted.
Yeah, and that was another one that we were talking about Elden Ring reaching new players and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I think Overwatch definitely had success with that because there's no KD ratio in your face.
Right.
I think you can go
Right.
find it.
Yeah.
But it was all about team efforts. So it's
Yeah.
like, how much healing did you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many assists did you have? How many
was
zones did you
great.
capture? It was all
Who
about
was your
that.
main, Micah?
I have a Moira sticker on my laptop.
Oh,
Look at
love that.
Look at that.
So Moira.
Yeah, Moira towards the end at least passed a lot of the updates and stuff because Moira, man, because you could get that satisfaction of healing your team, but she was like, you could do a good chunk of DPS
That's pretty
Especially
good.
with
Moira.
the alt on like an escort or like a payload, you know?
Yeah, you
Just,
could
like,
just
throw a rocket
yeah, it was
up
over.
there.
It was over.
Yeah.
Um,
You were really good as soldier. That was your
Oh,
shit.
thank you so much. So many people are like, "Oh, it's so easy to be good with soldier," which it is.
Well, you were
but-
pretty good with most
Which is-
characters, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think everybody played as a lot of, and plus they didn't update. Man, it didn't drop until like 2 years in, where the competitive was 2 DPS, 2 healers, 2 tanks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where the competitive was locked in, so you couldn't just run, 6
Exactly.
DPS guys out there and just, bunch of Hanzos or whatever.
Right. I remember. Yeah, exactly.
Hanzo's super fun too, by the way.
Yeah.
We could just talk about Overwatch
I
for like
love
the next
Hanzo
hour.
and Genji.
Okay, so competitive shooters, what else?
Devil May Cry as well. What would we consider that?
Hack
one?
and
Hack and
slash.
slash.
Yes, because Dark Souls has hack and slash elements too, but it's more like an RPG hack and slash, right?
Devil May Cry is more of a button masher.
It's like a combo heavy game.
Yeah. So I would go with those. What about you, Mike?
Those all suck. Those are all terrible choices. As far as my 3, my top one is action RPG, so I put it in that category. So games like Horizon, I guess Breath of the Wild's an action RPG. So stuff with still
Nice.
action-based combat or hack and slash type of stuff, but still building a character, leveling up, I think is satisfying for everybody who plays
Yeah.
games. And getting to choose, what kind of character you have. But the action still being a huge part of that. We talked about Persona earlier. I do definitely love the turn-based combat, but there's something about action and just controlling the character and being that person. That's definitely my top one. My second one, I'll show my age, platformers. I could slaughter anybody in about anything that's a
Yeah.
platformer. Just because that's what I grew up playing. I think me and Zach have had this conversation before. Like, he's better at first-person shooters because that's what he learned with. And, my era was more Mario, Mega Man, stuff like that required
Play
jumping.
Little Nightmares at all?
I have not played Little
It's
Nightmares.
a fantastic platformer.
It is.
I know, a bunch of people have
best
told me
of
to
the
play it.
best. I play it.
Have you played both of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with.
What
I'm
about-
like
She
that
did
too.
a painting of the protagonist, is it? Yeah, they'll do in the raincoat. Phenomenal work.
Yeah.
But you should check it out, the game and the work. But yeah, on your story, I've seen you play Mega Man after being stuck on a level, I think. It was just unreal. You were like,
Yeah,
geez.
I don't brag about a lot of things, but platformers, I can totally hang.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, put anything in front of me, I can play it. Another good one, Hollow Knight. Have you played Hollow Knight?
Oh, Matt's
yes.
playing that. You have what?
Hollow Knight's incredible.
You played Hollow Knight?
Yeah.
And it's all
I know Matt did, but
it's
I've seen
almost
Matt play.
Souls-like too. Like, you have to
Yeah.
find checkpoints and get your stuff
It's really
back when you
hard.
die. And,
Yeah.
but it definitely is that side-scrolling platformer. And now I'm mad at myself I didn't put rogues on here. So maybe that'll be an honorable mention because I love rogue games. Do you guys play rogue games?
Oh, Has-Been Heroes was a
No.
roguelike, right?
Yeah.
I've never played.
Or
Rogue.
roguelikes, yeah. So games like Rogue Legacy, Hades,
I have Hades, but I haven't started.
Enter
it
the
yet.
Gungeon.
I'm waiting. I'm 3 years down the line once
So,
everyone's done talking
so if
about it.
anybody doesn't know what a rogue game is you have to beat the game in one run. So if you die, you start all the way over. Rogue lights, you get to maintain some either items or
Some stats.
level up or have some minor
Yeah,
advantages.
I think it has been. You learn
Or there'll be a-
skills you keep.
Yeah, or there'll be like 5 bosses to beat. So if you do a run and beat the first one, it's locked out. So you can start a new run and just go straight to the second boss. So there is some forgiveness there, I guess. Love rogues. I like challenging games, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like that.
For sure.
So action RPG platformers. My last one, I threw sports in there. I know that's gonna fall on deaf ears with you guys. But being the sports lover that I am, I love taking control of like a franchise. Whether it be like drafting that team or signing free agents, playing through a full season, especially baseball games. I just love sports games. And that's probably going back to when I was young, too, because I've always played sports games.
Yeah.
So I will always love those.
No, I'm with you on sports games. I'm just awful at them. So
I'm not great at them either, really. But I don't play them online or competitively or anything. So I get to set my own difficulty and play a season. And I'm big on stats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's cool racking up stats for your
And
guys
you
and stuff.
do like the Dynasty on MLB, right? The
Oh,
show?
yeah. I'll play that shit like 7 years in.
Right.
Yeah. Setting hot dog prices. And
Right, yeah.
whatever.
That's
So it's like Roller Tycoon, but baseball, and you play baseball games.
Yeah.
So yeah, love sports games. Love sports games. All right, we got through that quickly.
Yeah.
So what else with genres?
I really like action adventures too.
Tomb Raider would fall under that, right?
Yeah, so action adventure, especially since like the PS4 and Xbox One era, those action adventure games are like movie blockbustery type cinematic stuff that swings through.
Yeah.
I love Tomb Raider. I love Uncharted.
Yeah, I love the Uncharted games. I think the first one did not age well. It was fantastic when I played it the first time when it came out, but it did not age well. Going back and playing it on like the trilogy re-release on the PlayStation 4, it was hard to get through. But the second one and the third one aged really well, and I really liked the fourth one. I think my favorite is the second one.
I like I like the second one the most too.
Yeah.
It's got like the airplane
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. The story seemed the best. Like his, the first one plays more just like a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Like your standard, there was some money behind it and whatever. And then the second one, and then on in the series, obviously really introduced the story and the voice acting, and really made you care about everybody and blockbuster moments.
Tomb Raider was like the first one of like the remakes of like the new total remakes. The first one, super legendary, iconic, incredible. Played it and then played it when it was re-released on the 4. The second game wasn't super into it, and then the third game.
The second game was Rise of the Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
Lots of snow and stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt the same way.
environment.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was the last
So
one, was awesome.
good.
And the story was even
so
kind of
good.
over the top,
It
even
was way over the top.
because it was like
so
Armageddon
good.
or something.
Yeah. The second one was like the environment was so bland, and like the gameplay was good, but not like incredible. And the third one, they just really took it and ran. It was just fantastic. Beautiful graphics, amazing story. Even the side quests were really fun. I loved Shadow of Tomb Raider. That was great.
Yeah, I really love that series too.
Yeah. God of War, I mean,
Those
that
are
was...
action adventure.
Sure. I mean, almost every game has RPG elements now.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you shove that minor stuff off.
And God of War is
Oh,
like
that's fair.
also a hack and slash.
Yeah.
God of War has always just been really incredible. I
Yeah.
just remember being introduced to it so young and just thinking, this is a brutal fucking game. This is awesome. You're not a good guy. You're not the hero.
No.
Like, you are on vengeance and...
Dude, Kratos kills everybody
He
he comes in
doesn't give a shit.
contact.
I mean, there's puzzles in the game that
Just-
you have to use innocent bystanders
Yeah.
and kill them to get through to the next part.
All right, so we like RPGs. We all like
Oh,
RPGs, right? And I like
Love
platformers
'em.
and sports. You guys don't.
I like
I
platformers.
love sports.
You both against me immediately. Okay, yeah, I didn't read that right. Did you mention puzzle games?
So that's the thing is, prior to this, I looked up like puzzle games, and it's like not. Zelda isn't considered a puzzle game. It's like
I wouldn't
Tetris
call
and
it.
stuff. It's like very specifically puzzle games. I like games that have puzzles in them. I like
Okay,
I
that's
like
fair.
solving things. I like environmental puzzles, I guess would be the best way to describe it. I love them. It feels so good to move on. And especially like games like Zelda, like the puzzles are just always very clearly in your face. And I feel really good about the fact that I never struggle in Zelda games with the puzzles. I never
Have you played Portal?
briefly, but I never owned it. I like played at a friend's house.
Because I would
really
definitely
enjoyed that.
define Portal as a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Probably
for sure.
the best puzzle game.
Yeah.
Well, by most people.
That's what I liked about Little Nightmares. It's like truly my aesthetic. It's creepy, it's spooky, it's cute, and it's a platformer puzzle game. I think you would love it.
I should play it.
I want to get it tattooed on my body. That's how
Really?
much I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the best games I've ever played.
Like the words Little Nightmares?
No, like
or
I want the protagonist tattooed
the
on my
little
body.
with the raincoat. What's her
Yeah.
name? Isn't it
It's
a
a
female?
number. Is it 5 or 6? 7? 6. It's a number.
Oh, okay.
6.
That's
I think
cool.
it's 6.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
6.
It's so good. Both games are freaking fantastic. And just like the art. The first game, you can tell a lot like with Ori and then the second Ori with the Blind Forest. You can tell that they released this game on like limited budget, but it was still like so fantastic. And like how great of a
That's
game it was. Their budget just freaking exponentially grew because people found this game and it was incredible. And you play the first one, you love it, and you play the second one and you're like, wow, the water is beautiful.
Look what they've
Which is
done.
actually a big thing in video games on how you gauge them is really the water. A lot of times, the
Yeah.
graphics, as you look at the water.
Yeah, video games are good at water now.
Yeah,
They're still not good with hair.
hair is still a struggle.
Hair's
It's
tough,
either like
apparently.
just like all over, like really like weird stringy. Not
Like even now,
gravity.
still, like I was playing Horizon
Solid.
Forbidden West, and Aloy has really cool hair, but it still like clips through her shoulders,
Yeah.
and it doesn't fall right. And
Yeah.
they just haven't figured out how to nail that.
Yeah, hair has been a struggle. Hair and water, we seem to have grasped. We're doing great with water.
Well, we've got water locked down, but the hair still haven't gotten that. All right, so those are some of our favorite genres. This has been fun tonight.
Yeah.
Shooting the shit, talking about games. Yeah, and we're gonna do this more, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some guests on. We've got some things in the works. Got some industry people. Got some music people. We're gonna talk about art.
Woo!
Alyssa's excited about that. So am I. We're gonna talk about art, music, all of our favorite stuff. Like I said, we love Top List. We probably do that all the time. And yeah, it's fun talking about games.
Yeah.
So until next time, Birds and Swords.
Yeah, thanks for
Birds
having
and
me on,
Swords.
guys.
You can ask us how we came up with that, but it's really not that complicated.
Birds and swords.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you all soon. We are out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Daryl Buchanan. Most know me as DJ. Swerving Podcast on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Check in every Sunday for the episodes. We got a new podcast called the Big Hungry and Swerve Movie Podcast. I'll be every Wednesday on the same platform. Be sure to check that out. Also got a detailing business. Be sure to check that out. Swerve Auto Detail on Facebook, Instagram. My phone number is 573-327-1473. I run rates at $125 for a full inside and out detail. Have a summer package, you can get you 5 cleans for $225. Like I said, that's Swerve Auto Details on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm your boy, Swerving Podcast, baby.